So it's been almost a year since Google released a TV streamer, and as the sole streaming device now officially sold by Google, how's it aged? Is it still worth it? And is it the best Android TV box you can buy? Well, here's everything you need to know. If you want more Google TV, Android TV, and general tech content like this, then hit that subscribe button. It helps me out probably more than you know, and you'll get this stuff straight to your Android TV box like a real legend would. So yeah, cheers. So I have to say, since the Google TV streamer launched, I've used it almost without fail every single day, and it is the main component in my living room TV system. It offers more than my LG Smart TV can offer in terms of functions, features, and raw power. And while I think it's a great device, and I think I'm going to continue to enjoy using this daily for the next few years, I think it offers a lot of compromises that make it a little bit hamstrung right out of the box. I think understanding the pitfalls actually raises questions about where the future models might fit into the lineup and what that really means for Google TV moving forward. Let's start with some of the once exclusive functions, because I think this is an important place to start and to talk about. They've rolled out to loads of other Google TV devices right out of the gate, and that's diminished some of the exclusivity, I guess, of the Google TV streamer. I'll talk about AI summaries for a second. They aren't all that helpful to me as someone who I kind of know what I'm going to watch to begin with. But I will say my partner, she finds this, or she's very complimentary about them, at least how they help both of us find common shows and movies to watch, which I think anyone out there in a relationship can attest to having issues with, especially when there's one TV in your living room. Google TV, I think, is really excellent at surfacing recommendations, provided you rate and review the things that you watch, something I need to do a little bit more of. I think getting an information snippet does save time sifting through things you might not enjoy, or both of you might not enjoy, or especially if you have a family, not all of you in the household will enjoy. Home controls, I have to say, this is still really excellent. I like this across all Google TV devices now. Being able to check the front door or another camera on, or at least around your home, on the big screen definitely beats the Nest Hub every single time for me. It just gives you more details. It's a lot more immersive. Plus, if I'm watching something and someone presses on my Nest doorbell, it's right there, full screen view, and I can see exactly what to do and know where I'm going to put my dog before I pick up a package. This has been super helpful. As I say, I want more integrations like this, especially as Gemini finally gets integrated, hopefully in the coming months, with Google TV. As for hardware, that remote finder button that I think a lot of us have been really complimentary of on the hardware, I think it would be great if I hadn't put the set-top box behind my TV. Luckily, I haven't lost the remote just yet. I'm glad that you can use voice commands to ask the Nest Hub to ping it though. The button is great, it's a really great addition. I'm glad they added this, but it's not something I use all that often. I need to talk about the remote for a second here as someone who came from the Chromecast remote from the previous years, a slightly smaller one. I love the design changes now. It did take me a little while to get used to it, but I think it's a lot easier for even non-techie people to decipher pretty quickly. You're not having to use those buttons on the side, the volume buttons on the side, to understand that and accidentally pressing them quite as often. I think they're enough of a reason to upgrade alone, personally, to this new remote, but maybe not necessarily the Google TV streamer, and I'll get into that in just a moment. I will say, due to the arrangement of my home entertainment system, some of the other hardware, like the Ethernet port, has been practically useless for me, which is a little annoying, as I probably would have actually gone wired if it were feasible. I'm sure, like many of you out there, I like wires to be hidden, and that wasn't possible in my situation on my particular setup. Silly complaint aside though, I do think the Wi-Fi connectivity, which is the height of the connectivity on this device, it's been fine so far. I mostly watch YouTube content at 4K resolution where possible, and I do think the TV streamer handles that without any sort of issues whatsoever. I'd be lying though if I said I didn't want at least Wi-Fi 6 on a dongle like this or a set-top box like this, as I do have a Wi-Fi 6E router, and I'll likely upgrade that in the coming years to ensure I have the most robust home network possible. And if it's Wi-Fi 7, that's probably where I'm going to go in the next couple of years. I do think the TV streamer does work fine with this older wireless tech. I just want a little bit more future-proofing, as this is my main entertainment system, or at least my main entertainment system controller in my home. I won't upgrade it for a long time unless I really have problems. And I will say I'm starting to see a lot more 4K HDR videos become standard across various streaming services, and having that little bit of extra wireless grunt, would it be? Wireless power grunt would be really nice. Just in terms of future proofing, anything to lower the stress on my Wi-Fi network is going to be super helpful. And I will say I've noticed some congestion, or when congestion is something that's a problem on my network, it does affect the TV streamer first, or it does affect the TV streamer from time to time. It feels like a big oversight in Google's part, especially if they don't plan on upgrading the hardware for another 4 to 5 years like they did with the Chromecast with Google TV. And if you do what I've done and physically integrate the set-top box into your TV system itself, then I do think the size and shape doesn't necessarily matter all that much. Even though I will say it's not a bad looking device, I probably would hate to have it on a counter or cabinet, especially as there's wires hanging around. The Chromecast was really a lot more inconspicuous, and over time I've grown to love that design a little bit more. I think that's what I want from a streaming box. Just stay out of sight, stay out of mind, and control what I'm watching on my TV. I don't really get why Google wanted to make such a big streaming device. The thing is, there's other people out there like Amazon doing way better with the form factor, although they do look a bit more techy, and they're chucking in a lot more internal grunt that this device still doesn't have. You can't add accessories as well without adding an extra dongle, so the extra size makes it all the more confusing as you're not getting extra ports, and I'm actually scratching my head more and more as time goes by as to why they made this design decision in the first place. So we kind of knew when the TV streamer was launched that this was the death knell for the Chromecast series. Since then, Google's basically said adios to the entire Chromecast lineup, which now definitely puts a greater emphasis on the TV streamer. The bigger design, the bulkier shape, and that inflated price at £99, $99, I think it's €99 as well in Europe, is really hard to recommend for every single person out there. I think the dongle form factor is something that we probably should see again, but for now, this is the only way to get a streamer directly from Google and directly from the Google Store, and technically is going to be supported a long time into the future. That said, the Chromecast is still supported for a little while, or at least as far as Google is concerned. And I can certainly see why people will be put off with the TV streamer, and I wonder how this has affected sales. We don't have sales figures as yet, but it could drastically affect how people view their Google TV and Android TV boxes. A question you're probably going to ask yourself, and I know a lot of people are probably already in the comment section putting this, if you want the most powerful Android TV box on the market, or if you care about powering your Android TV box, then to put it bluntly, just look elsewhere if you care about having all those extra powerful bells and whistles. The Google TV streamer is not what you want, and it won't give you what you want. It has that distinct lack of processing power, and there's extra limitations there that I can't say I've personally hit all that often, but yeah, they're there. Other alternatives have better processors, more inputs and outputs, sometimes more RAM in a few cases, more capable remotes, and most importantly, I think this is the most damning of all things, lower MSRPs or RRPs. The Walmart On 4K Pro is seriously hard to beat at under $50, and it clears a TV streamer in just about every single regard. The problem is it isn't available in many regions outside the US unless you buy a rebadged version, which, yeah, that's rife with problems of its own. I think you need to look at it like this. With the TV streamer, if you're happy with just a basic option, you can still sideload all of your favourite applications or get extra things working as you need, but the performance is still light years behind some of the other set-top boxes out there. I'm not the person to do much beyond click, press and play. However, I can see why a lot of you out there get annoyed if you want to use the Google TV streamer as a bridge to a more powerful home entertainment system to other TVs in your home. That said, I haven't hit that limit very often, even in the year I've been using this, and I can say I use a Chromecast with Google TV 4K from 2020. That's vastly underpowered. I use that every single day on my office TV here where I'm recording this video, and that seems to just handle things that I need to do with it aplomb, which is mostly YouTube. If you're mostly YouTube and Netflix, this is absolutely fine. The biggest problem I think a lot of people have with this, though, is it is a flag bearer for Google, and there are lots of codecs that remain unsupported for audiovisual enthusiasts to consider this as a truly good option for home entertainment. And on top of that, Google TV, I can't say it's changed much in the 4 years since it's been introduced. It's fine for the basics. It looks good. It has a few basic ads disguised as banners. And I will say it is effectively streamlined to just get you into streaming applications that you use the most from the biggest players out there. I'm glad that Google or BBC managed to get it on, I don't know, with the help of Google, whatever happened, they got iPlayer working almost 6 months after release, and it has device certification, or had device certification pretty shortly after launch. So yeah, I'm sure there are other regions where big players aren't yet available, which adds to frustration as a lot of them are available on the Chromecast and work just fine over there. A bigger problem facing the TV streamer, I think, as we look at the value proposition, is that a lot of those unique launch features that I alluded to earlier have actually rolled out to other Android TV hardware over the past 6 or so months. Almost a year on, this puts a TV streamer in a really strange position, as it's probably the most basic option for most people rather than being the best and most powerful product to buy. It is made for basic plug and play, despite being the fact that you need an extra HDMI cable, and it is a bigger, bulkier device that you need to hide out of the way more so than the Chromecast. It does handle streaming well, it handles the streaming basics well, but just not for anyone who wants more than those the big player apps like HBO Max, all that kind of stuff, Netflix, you name it. There are some applications that mean that you're not going to have, it's not going to work for you. Codecs are not going to work how they should work, or performance is going to be better elsewhere. But yeah, the performance is good, is a lot better than the Chromecast, but it's not lag free. It's something I've had with the device here. It's locked up a few times, and applications sometimes need to fully refresh or close after launching from specifically from a cold start, and that's semi-regularly in my experience. I'll say it's not a big deal to me, as I can wait a few seconds for it to restart, but I can see why it would annoy you if you're someone who really does spend a lot of time in front of your TV after you finish work or even before you finish, all that kind of stuff. I've used some of the functions like I alluded to earlier, like the Home tab. I love it, but I've used it less and less. I do appreciate it's there, and it's been wonderful to be able to do things like control lights and other smart home hardware while I'm watching a movie, especially late in the evening, without having to bark at my Nest Hub. But I can do that on the ancient Chromecast now in my office, which I do think dulls the sheen a little bit. All I would boil the TV streamer down to, though, is that it's a fairly bulky but convenient media consumption device with a little bit of those Google Smarts thrown in, not necessarily the core component of it. I do think it excels quite well at that. That's all basically you need to know. I think, lukewarm praise aside, $99 is far too much for this device. By now, I think it should be around that 50 to 60 mark. That's arguably the price that the TV streamer probably should be available at on online stores and in retail stores as well. It feels like a slight step above the Chromecast without the added form factor benefits, no integrated HDMI and all that kind of stuff, but nowhere near as good as the practically ancient NVIDIA Shield TV and NVIDIA Shield TV Pro, which I actually switched away from, and sometimes I do wish I would go back to. There are Amazon streaming sticks out there that have better internals at half the price as well, which compounds the problem even more, as most people will probably just get a Fire Stick instead. I don't think the TV streamer is a bad product though. It's just not the flag bearer for TV streaming that the Chromecast kind of felt for such a long period of time. And yeah, the pricing is a little bit frustrating to boot as well. I think it's one of those products that, yeah, it has a market, it does what it needs to do, but not much more than that. And yeah, the price does diminish it a little bit. I want to ask you though, do you have the TV streamer? Have you been enjoying it? Do you love it? Do you loathe it? What other options out there have you tried, or do you trust as well? There's a lot of no-name brands out there that you could go and pick up, but I don't know if I trust them with my home entertainment. Let me know down in the comment sections below. Hopefully this has helped you or given you some idea of what the TV streamer can do and can't do, as it were. I know this is a really charged subject. I know a lot of you out there are really big Android TV enthusiasts, but yeah, cheers for watching, and I'll speak to you later.